I just want to quickly explain how to submit the programming assignments for the course. In order to submit the 2 programming assignments, you're going to have to download a submission script from the programming assignment webpage and execute the submission script in R. The submission script will prompt you to submit the various parts of the assignment, and you have to submit them one by one. Every time you submit a part of a programming assignment, you'll get a couple points, and you can get all the points for the programming assignment by getting all of the parts correct. So I'm going to quickly show you how to do that in R. Okay, so you can see that I have the programming assignment web page loaded up here, and I'm going to look at the first programming assignment, which is the air pollution assignment. So if I click, you'll see that there's 10 parts here, and you have to submit all 10 parts to get full credit. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to look at the instructions, and of course first you have to download the data, which comes in this zip file, and then you have to follow each of the 3 parts. So at the very bottom of the instructions, you shall see that there's a submission script that you'll have to download. So the easiest way to do this is to source it directly into R from the console, but of course you have to be connected to the internet to do that while you're using R. So I'm just going to take this part here and cut and paste it. And I got my R console over here. And so I've got R loaded up here, so I'm just going to paste it in and enter. And so now you can see if I look at my workspace here, I've got the submit object there. And if I print it out, you can see that it's a function. It's a long one. It's probably not that interesting, but nevertheless, you can run it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run the script. But before I do that, one thing that you have to do is you have to make sure that all of your code is in the same directory, is in your working directory. And furthermore, the code for your solutions, the core function, the complete function, and the pollutant mean function, they all have to be in your working directory. Similarly, the data have to be in a directory, in a subdirectory from that working directory. So the spec data directory has to be open, and you have to have the data accessible. So given that, I can run my submit function, and you'll see you'll be prompted. So the first thing you have to do is to figure out your course ID. So how do you know what your course ID is? So if you go to your web browser, it doesn't matter which one you're using, and you click on the location bar, which is at the top, you'll see that the URL starts with class.coursera.org, and then the very next thing after that will be RProg, so RProg dash, and then a number. Now you can see in this case we're at the number is 010. It's the 10th iteration of this class. So that's your course identifier. You can ignore the stuff that comes after that. So now, when I go to my console here, I can say rprog-010, like this. That's my course ID. Now my submission email is just my email address. And my submission password is a special password. Now keep in mind, this is not the password that you use to log into Coursera. This is the password that is generated on top, at the very top of the programming assignment kind of main page. So if I go back to this main page here, you see at the very top here, there's a submission login, which that's your email, and submission password, which is just this random string of digits, of letters. And if something goes wrong, you can always generate a new password. It doesn't really matter. These are all just random strings. And so you can just cut and copy that, go back to the R console and paste it in here. And now you're ready to go. So you have your course ID, your submission login, and your submission password. So I'm ready to go. And you'll see that this script is custom designed so that it knows what all 10 parts of the assignment are. So if I want to submit, let's say, part 2, I can hit 2. It will look for a file in my working directory that implements the pollutant mean function. It will look for that function. It will execute the function. And it will send the answer to the Coursera servers. If the answer is correct, you'll get the Coursera will indicate that it's correct, and the script will let you know. So here I got the correct indication, so that's good. If I switch back to the assignment webpage and I reload the page here, you'll see that under the part 2, it was submitted. It gives you the time, the date, and the time of submission, and the score, which in this case was 1 point out of 2 because actually I'm submitting this assignment after the deadline, so you won't get full credit if it's after the deadline. But if you submit it before the deadline and the answer is correct, you should get full credit, which would be 2 points. So you can continue submitting parts like this. I can go back and say submit again, and you'll see that it'll remember your information, so assuming that it hasn't changed. So you can say yes, go ahead, and I'll say I'll do part 4, and it'll send the answer to Coursera. And you can see the answer is correct. If I go to the Coursera webpage here and reload the page, you'll see that it'll put the date and time of the submission and the number of points that you earned. Again, because I'm submitting this after the deadline is passed, I only get 1 out of 2 points. So that's basically how you submit a programming assignment for this course. You're going to have to do it for the first programming assignment. The second one is not is a peer evaluation, so that's graded differently. But then the third programming assignment, again, we'll use a submit script in the exact same way.